New in IronCAD 2023 Product Update 1 is the ability to replace parts and assemblies that are externally linked. For example, in this file I have an assembly that has an external linked part that is also linked within this assembly, and I also have it sitting outside of the assembly file as itself. So this is an example that this bracket may be used throughout this assembly file in multiple locations. The replace functionality allows you to replace just the selected elements within a parent assembly, or all elements in the file. So we'll go through this process. The command is found in two locations, one on your right-click menu on your part under External Link Management, and also in the ribbon for Assembly under Replace Part Assembly. So we'll go ahead and select our part that we're going to replace, and select the command Replace Part Assembly. So it gives you options again to replace only the selected element that you want to replace, or all instances within the same parent, or all instances in the file. So in our case, we'll just do the parent assembly first, just to show we can replace these two files and leave the one in the scene alone. And we're going to choose what file that we want to replace with. And the way this works is you can replace with any file, but in order to help retain your constraints or to reattach your constraints, it is good to use a file that was built from the original. So in this case, this new bracket, it was built from our base one. So it has very similar IDs for various faces and edges so that it can help reconnect the constraints. So we'll go ahead and replace with that part. And we'll go ahead and hit the OK command to begin the process of replacing. As you can see, it replaced both parts within this assembly, and you can also see that it's showing you the constraints that were maintained. In this case, they're all accepted because they got green check marks. If anything failed, you would see an X. And you can go through and walk through and isolate these various ones to see what they are and show just the parts that are constrained in the file for visual clarification. And you can also just drill down through the various constraints using the next constraints, and you can delete anything that you don't want to retain. You can also reattach elements. For example, if something was failed, you can actually see what the failure was, reattach to a new face or edge to reconnect that constraint. So a very handy tool to retain those on replace. So as you can see in this particular file, when we hit OK, we replace those parts just within that assembly file or that parent assembly file. If we restart this file, we can do the same process. In this case, we'll go ahead and replace all the components within the file. So in this case, again, we'll select onto our part, go to our assembly ribbon, replace part assembly. In this case, we'll do all instances, and we'll select our bracket again. And go ahead and start the process and accept our constraints. And we can see that all these files are now replaced within this file. So a very handy tool to replace elements that have constraints that are on external link parts or assemblies within your files.